What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Now, if you've followed me for any amount of time, you'll know that I've had gut health issues for probably as long as I can remember, at least 5, 6, 7 years, to the point where it has controlled my entire life. Well, it's been about a year since I last updated you, and I finally feel like I have the tips and tools and tricks to tell you exactly how I healed my gut. So with that said, let's just jump right in. So first thing I want to focus on is meal hygiene. One thing that was really critical for me was actually slowing down a lot when I was eating my meals and making sure that I was chewing my food. So you want to chew approximately 20 to 30 times per bite of food, slowing down, making sure that it's almost like an oatmeal consistency. The reason for this is because your digestion actually starts in your mouth. So you have digestive enzymes in your mouth that are breaking down the food, and it makes the whole digestive process easier for you if you can have more broken down food that goes into your system. Your meal should last around 20 minutes depending on what you're eating. Really slow down, making sure that you're savoring your meal, you're paying attention to what you're eating. Now, a tip that I love to do, I live in California, so I like to take my meals outside and get a little bit of sunlight while I eat, or sometimes I'll put on a little bit of ambient music so I feel entertained. The next thing I want to focus on is hydration. Hydration is critical to every function of our body. Our bodies are made up of mostly water, and we need to make sure that we are hydrating properly to make sure all of our bodily functions are operating at their best. So a good rule of thumb is to focus on getting at least half your body weight worth of water in ounces per day. So for example, let's say you weigh 150 pounds, a target should be approximately 75 ounces of water per day. A few other caveats to this is you want to make sure you're not chugging all of your water at the same time. For example, if you go all day without drinking and then you guzzle just 8 glasses of water, it's not going to absorb into your system the same way as it would if you're drinking it throughout the day. And the second part of this is make sure your water has enough minerals in it. When you drink a ton of water and there aren't proper minerals in it, you actually can strip your own body of its minerals and nutrients. So something that I like to do is actually take some Celtic sea salt or Celtic sea salt, I'm not really sure how to pronounce it. Just take a little pinch of it and stick it in your water bottle. Or you can do sea minerals as well. Both of these just add extra minerals that help your body absorb and utilize the water that you're consuming. Moving on from meal hygiene, a big thing for me was actually my stomach acid. So I was dealing with some sort of heartburn growing up, and I actually got put on PPIs, which are protein pump inhibitors that are meant to lower your stomach acid. Lo and behold, to find out years later that I actually had low stomach acid. Your stomach acid is what digests all of your food, kills the parasites, kills the bacteria. If your stomach acid is low, which was the case with mine, my food was actually sitting in my stomach, which allows for it to kind of ferment and can produce extra gases and cause you to be bloated. And also, it's not killing all the bad bacteria. So bacteria was getting into my small intestine, I was having overgrowth, and I was experiencing SIBO. So a big thing for me with dealing with stomach acid was I actually had to add in digestive enzymes. So I started out with using digestive bitters, which is something that you can find online. I think I got mine on Amazon, I'll link it below. And then I ended up adding in betaine HCl, which is a digestive enzyme that helps break down the protein that you were consuming. A good way to test if you actually have low stomach acid is doing a baking soda test, which I'll link the directions down below as well. If you do this test and you find out your stomach acid actually is low, the first thing I would do is start with digestive bitters. You don't want to jump right into betaine HCl because let's say, for example, you have a stomach ulcer or something, you could make your stomach ulcer worse. So if this is the case, I would reach out to a homeopathic doctor, a dietitian, see if you can get some testing done to make sure you don't have H. pylori, which causes stomach ulcers, or an ulcer. And if that's the case, then you can dabble with adding in some betaine HCl. Go low and slow. You need a lot less than you think. The next thing I want to talk about is fiber. So fiber has multiple uses, and adding in a fiber supplement can actually help if you have loose stool or if you have constipation. If you have loose stool, it helps bulk it up. If you have constipation, it kind of helps move things along. So you can use a supplement. The one that I used in particular was called Sun Fiber. There's also good ones like Heather's Tummy Fiber, and just adding a scoop into your morning coffee or your morning smoothie is all you really need to do. It also works as a sort of prebiotic, and so what that means is it actually feeds the good gut bacteria in your digestive system. The way I would recommend utilizing a fiber supplement is not going from 0 to 100 right away. You need to slowly up your dosage. If you go in too fast, you're gonna end up making yourself bloated and you're gonna think it's not working. Coming off the back of prebiotics, let's talk about probiotics. So probiotics are good bacteria that you want to help grow and flourish in your gut. Probiotics themselves do not colonize your gut. They're more of a pass-through bacteria, but they really do help with the further colonization of your current bacteria that lives in your digestive system. Probiotics could be a good thing to consider because what they really do is help that good bacteria flourish and help push out that bad bacteria. Let's say you've been an antibiotic user your whole life. Sometimes probiotics are all you really need to make a difference and heal your gut. Okay, let's talk about diet. I feel like this has been such a hot topic for me. If you have watched any of my previous videos, you know I've tried the low FODMAP diet. I've tried the SIBO diet, the Candida diet. I've tried the lectin-free diet. And what do all of these diets have in common? None of them worked for me. I was constantly told that in order to reduce my symptoms, I had to cut and cut and cut more foods out of my life, which was a completely toxic mentality for me, and actually I feel like in the end made my symptoms worse. So what did help me in healing my gut? The key thing for me was making sure that all of my meals were balanced. So this includes proteins, fats, carbs, and color. Thinking about color as different micronutrients. So for example, strawberries for red, blueberries for blue, beets for purple. When it came down to actually healing my gut, I was focusing a lot more on variety versus limitation. The more diverse you want your gut bacteria to be, the more diverse you need to eat. Now, I'm not saying go from a strict no carb, paleo, SIBO diet and then just eat everything on the shelf. What I'm saying is making an effort to slowly add in new foods, like for example, having a tablespoon of beans to a meal or adding in a few crackers here and there. Diversifying what you're eating, especially plant-based foods, can really help diversify your gut bacteria and in the end, help with your overall digestion. Now again, starting slow is the best approach for this in my opinion. What I would do is get a food journal, track what you're eating. Let's say you add in some chickpeas, see how you feel. Let's say you add in some zucchini, see how you feel. And then you can really pinpoint what foods work for your body and what don't, and you can slowly start building up your variety. The next thing I really want to focus on is something that pretty much probably caused all of my gut problems, and that is stress. A really helpful exercise I've done in the past year when really evaluating where my gut health issues started and what the genesis of it was, what was happening in my life at the same time, was creating a journal and just creating a timeline of all of the different events that have happened in my life, and if I had antibiotic usage, if I was hyper stressed. And I tried to kind of mirror that with my gut health and when my gut health really started to plummet. It wasn't until I was able to look at myself in the mirror and take a step back and really evaluate what stressors in my life were necessary and which ones weren't, that I was able to embark on healing my gut for good. One thing for me in particular that was causing a lot of stress is workouts. So I want to talk about workouts in particular and what I used to do and what I'm doing now that is much better for my gut health. So I was the kind of girl who would do like 45 minutes of a HIIT workout, and then I would get on the stair stepper for 30 minutes, or I would run for 9 miles. I didn't feel satisfied unless I was dripping in sweat, breathless, and exhausted after a workout. So imagine you're having all these gut health issues and then you're throwing crazy intense workouts that are just stressing your body to the max on top of it. You're basically adding gasoline to the fire. I've completely changed my mindset around working out and focused on a lot more low impact exercises. So what that looks like for me in a day-to-day, and I can do a whole video on what I'm working out like now for gut health, but what I'm focusing on now is a lot more walking. So a lot more longer, lower, and slower movements. When I was at my worst, literally all I could do was walk. Now that I'm a lot better, the things that I've incorporated in that are more permanent are more strength training. I'll do some Pilates style workouts, and I'll do some body weight workouts. For me, I've actually noticed a huge difference in my body because I'm no longer causing all of this inflammation. I'm a lot less puffy, I'm a lot less swollen, I'm a lot less exhausted, and I've seen massive benefits from changing up my workouts. Finally, for me, the one that was the most difficult, my beloved coffee and my beloved red wine. If you know me, you know I love coffee. It is one of my ultimate joys in life. I love my morning ritual, waking up, making an espresso, walking to the coffee shop. It brings me joy. But the feeling I was getting from it was not bringing me joy. It really can be inflammatory if you're in a state of current inflammation. If you're a big coffee drinker like me, maybe try removing it for a little while or swapping it out for something else and see if that makes a difference in your life. Alcohol, kind of the same thing, inflammatory agent. I'm sure if you have gut health issues and you have a night out drinking, you can see the effects afterwards. It might make you feel like you're going to the bathroom, and if you're backed up, you might think it's a good thing, but what it's really doing is causing massive inflammation in your body. So could be a good thing to consider cutting back on if it is something that you are indulging with regularly. One thing that I did that I really do recommend is if you're having these chronic problems, try speaking to a doctor, maybe seeing a naturopathic doctor, seeing a dietitian who specializes in this area, who really can support you when you're trying to heal your gut. Now I know I've thrown so much at you super quickly, and I can dive into each of these topics in more detail and show you how I'm utilizing them in my everyday life going forward. But I wanted to give you an overview of kind of where I'm at, where I was, and what are some small things that you can do in your everyday life to really help heal your gut. If you enjoyed this video, please hit like, please hit subscribe. I'm gonna be uploading new videos every single week. Bye guys.